Imagine what can become possible for your business when you integrate manifestation tools with business strategy. My name's Dr. Brooklyn Storme. Welcome to the Mentored Podcast. Okay, fun fact, just before we dive into this episode, my new way of recording the podcast is to have a loom going at the same time so that I can get the transcript at the same time as I get the audio file, which will then mean that I don't have to keep saying show notes to follow and forgetting to actually follow. So anyway, the thing is, I've tried about 10 times to record this podcast episode, but I was recording it. I hit record on Loom, but then wasn't hitting record on GarageBand. So anywho, I've got it sorted now. It's just I don't know. This is my life right now. But I want to share with you a bit of a realization that I had, because I think that it could be helpful for you too. And that's the whole goal of me doing these podcasts, but also to be completely transparent with you and show you what it really looks like from my side. And I think before I do that, I probably do need to go back just 2 days so that you've got context. So one of the things that really, really works for me when I'm trying to get some clarity on my business, right? So whenever I want clarity on my business, my default is go to Claude, right? And I would just start typing away, working away with Claude, back and forth, brainstorming, getting ideas, going down rabbit holes, all of that. Sometimes I might use ChatGPT, but it's pretty rare. But my default really is go and talk to Claude, right? And I can lose a lot of time doing that and walk away with very little return on that time investment, if you know what I mean, depending on what I'm doing, right? And I know that for me, the fastest way to get clarity is by writing things down in a notepad, right? I call it journaling, call it whatever you like, but I have these little A5 Spirax spiral bound notepads that I just love. And yeah, all I need is a pen and my notepad, and then I can just start writing. And it's through this process of writing that I get instant insights, downloads, clarification, answers. It's all just there for me. And so I know that this is a very dependable strategy for me. And yeah, for some reason, I don't use it as well as I could, right? That's important. We're going to come back to this in a minute. Okay, so for context, while I was away in beautiful, gorgeous Daylesford and going to Ballarat and Bendigo and wide open fields and stuff like that, it was amazing. Loved it. But on when was it? Friday morning. So yeah, Friday morning, I was just enjoying a little lie-in, which is really nice because normally Buddy is with me in the mornings, and so it's very hard to kind of roll over. He's a snuggler, which is great, but he's also very clingy. Nice, but sometimes you know how you just like to spread out and not worry about knocking somebody off the bed. Yeah, so I was just having a starfish moment, and I was just sprawled out, and I was just loving it. And then anyway, I got up and was making myself some coffee, turned on the TV, and straight away my mind said, oh yeah, while you're waiting for the kettle, just pick up the phone and start getting some ideas for work and things you should be working on. And, I was just on autopilot. But over the last couple of weeks, I've been having this experience of, metacognition, how you're the observer of your thoughts. This has been happening unintentionally. It's just I've been aware that I'm watching my thoughts. Very interesting. And anyway, that's what was happening on the Friday morning. I was thinking to myself, hang on, no. We shouldn't be doing this. Just down tools, you're on a break, just go and relax. Just let yourself have a lazy morning. And so anyway, I did that. I went, had my coffee, had my breakfast, watched TV, and I was sitting there, and then I started to think about what I was looking at online. And recently, as you know, I've been making these big changes to my business. And one of the things I was thinking about was how I'm not going to do free calls anymore, right? I just don't want to do them. For me, um, it's just like not aligned with my time value. So, time is super duper important to me, and people are very important to me as well, and helping them, absolutely. But I don't really want to be giving away so much of it. And, you know, uh, when you think about your conversions and this, that, and the other, I have to sit there and I was like, how many inquiry calls have I done? How many converted? Am I happy with my conversion rate? And I am happy with my conversion rate, right? It's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with my conversion rate. But I guess I was looking at the other side of the people who hadn't converted. And when I tally up the time that I had spent just like giving energy away, I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. I just don't. And so I want to have like a discovery call free business, right? If somebody wants my time for something, I don't want anybody to say to me, oh, I want to pick your brains. Like, that just means get free advice. When we do that, you're not valuing yourself, you're not valuing me, you're not valuing time, all of that. I don't want to do that anymore. And I think that's what was happening with some people on some calls. So I just thought, yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to offer paid consultations, right? So if somebody legit has a problem, but they're not really wanting to get support around it so much, that's fine. They can just have a consultation. So I'd set that up and it felt great. But while I was driving to Daylesford, I was thinking about a lot of these changes that I was making. And I was like kind of patting myself on the back for making this one about the no longer doing the free calls. But on the Saturday morning when I was thinking about it, I thought to myself, yeah, why didn't I want to do those? And do I really not want to do them? Because, when you get good people on the call, like, you know what it's like. You're just like in flow with each other and you're in sync and it feels really good and you're aligned and it's just like so powerful. And so there's really part of me that didn't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. And as I was having this sort of, realization, I was like, oh, go and get the notepad and pen. We want to do our work here, so to speak. And anyway, I just thought, I'm going to process all of this. So I just started like writing, why don't I want to do it? And, all of this. And I was doing question and answer, question and answer, question and answer. And oh my gosh, the clarity came through thick and fast, just so quickly. And I was just like, it was like lightning. Like, I cannot tell you how quickly I was getting all of these answers. And I knew that I'd finished because you know how when you're writing, you just come to sort of the natural end point. And so I knew that I'd finished, but I told myself, now hang on, take a lot of this and turn it into action steps for yourself. So on a fresh piece of paper, it's got to be a fresh piece, right? So I got a fresh piece of paper and wrote down all action steps and even, made myself some check boxes next to each of them. And I was like, this is so great. And I was lit up. I was energized. I was so excited. I was, like buzzing. I felt so good about it. And then I thought, oh, this is fantastic. Now I can just like get up and go and enjoy the day. And I didn't even have any plans for the day because I like to just wing it, right? I want to just be open to whatever the day brings. So I didn't really have plans other than I was just going to get in the car and drive. And so anyway, I went to start packing up, but then I was like, I actually have the feeling to do some of the things on my action list, right? So anyway, I just opened up the laptop and I just said, yeah, I'm just going to go through it and do it. So anyway, I had quite a list. Let me see if I can find it. I've done so much. What was it? Oh no, that's another list. Oh yeah, So here it is. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 things on it, right? I'll tell you what some of them were. I had update the application form, update the booking link, update the booking confirmation email, update the framework, update the tracker. What have I got? Update the website copy, like things like that. And anyway, so I opened up the laptop and I just, boom, did it. And it was really easy. And I got through that whole entire list of things, looked at the clock, and it was only 11 a.m. Like it had just ticked over from 10:59, 11 a.m. And this whole thing took 2 hours. So it was about an hour of writing and getting the clarity. And then it was an hour of like fast implementation. And as you can hear, that was 14 things achieved in an hour that might take people probably a week or two to do, but I got them done. I mean, it's one of the perks of having ADHD, I guess, that hyper focus and just being able to like smash things out really quickly. And I was just feeling so good. And then, anyway, I was like, okay, well, you just spent 2 hours on your holiday working. You don't need to do anything else now. Just go and relax and enjoy. And so that's what I did. And then, yeah, I was just thinking today about work. And you know how like either the night before or the morning of, you're thinking about your day, you're thinking what you've got to do, all of the tasks and activities that await you and stuff like that. And I want to create some new systems for my business. I've been doing lots of extra training and lots of extra coaching myself. And so now I want to go and create all these new systems for my business. Plus, I want to refine some existing systems that I've got and shut a few others down, right? Anyway, I was sitting there this morning and I was thinking to myself, oh, yes, all these things to do. And it was so interesting because in my mind, I told myself, oh, it's so overwhelming. Like there's all these things and there's pressure and there's urgency and it's like it all needs to be done today, And I don't know if this happens to you too. It's not just a me thing, I'm sure. But anyway, that's what the feeling was like. It just felt like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. There's always so much stuff. Like I was just going through a bit of that. And then the other part of me said, well, hang on, no. You've got a reliable, dependable process that you use here that really does support you. And it really does show you what to do that's going to have the biggest impact on your goals. So why don't you just do that? Like just build the journaling into the day of work. And the thing is that I tried doing that before, but my mind is like, well, that doesn't really count as work, Brooklyn, and we can't do this at 9 a.m. because it's not really a work activity. And so I'm doing all of this. And what feels better in the moment is to just start doing stuff sometimes, right? To just be doing stuff without a plan, without anything behind it, without it actually moving towards something, like no real conscious thought going into it, just the busyness of business, You know how you just, I don't know, you just put yourself under pressure sometimes to do stuff. And what I realized was this is so interesting because here I am knowing full well that I've got a process that I can use that's going to tell me quick, smart, what I need to do this day, this week, this month, this quarter, this 12 months, whatever it is. I've got that process there that I already know how to use. I'm proficient with it. I've got so much evidence that it works for me. Yet my brain and my body are like, nah, don't worry about that. We're just going to keep on doing what we always do. Like it doesn't feel good to put all the stuff I normally do on hold for an hour or two while I sit down and journal. Even though I know that makes zero logical sense. So, if that's happening to you, let me share an insight. The insight was that it's not a brain thing and what I know I should be doing versus what I'm doing and stuff like that. It's nervous system regulation. And I'm by no means an expert in nervous system regulation, but I think it makes a lot of sense in this case because when I sit down to start work, I'm like, go, 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 go. And it's like rush, rush, rush. And I do all of these things. So for my nervous system to have to be okay with, we're starting the timer now and I'm not actually doing anything in inverted commas for an hour or two, that's so uncomfortable for my nervous system that it's just not possible. And so I can get stuck in a pattern of keeping myself very busy, feeling tired at the end of the workday because, that's a good sign, right? That you've done a hard day's work and therefore you're now deserving of all the good things that come your way, all the other BS stories we tell ourselves. But at the same time, after it's all over, after the race has been run and I'm sitting down and having dinner and I'm just like relaxing with you know who, and my mind calms down, my body calms down, then I'm like kicking myself because I realize you did all of these things today. You don't know if they're going to work for you. You don't know like what your goal is for this particular thing. You're just kind of off doing it, some of that. Anyway, with all of this realization, I just came to the conclusion that I'm going to do what I advise my clients to do, and that's run a neuroaffirming business. And for me, that looks like flexibility, of course, with things like this. And so, given that this is my dependable strategy that really genuinely works for me, does shift the needle, and I do get results from it, my body is just not at the point yet where it can handle doing it during work time. I am just going to do it either before work when I'm having breakfast. So Buddy and I get up quite early so that we can have a slow morning, right? I love a slow morning, and actually journaling fits in really well with a slow morning. You have your coffee in your dressing gown, TV on, dog on your lap, and it's just nice to have that quiet time. Also, it works at the other end of the day of an evening as part of not so much an evening reflection on what did I do, how did I go, how am I feeling. I'm not doing any of that, but I am thinking about, okay, what's coming up for me at the moment, what's beneath it, what's behind it. Is it an identity thing for me? Is it a mindset thing? Is it a personal psychology thing? Is it an environmental thing? Like, what is it? And then I process that, come up with the insights, make the action steps, and then I know what I can do. So anyway, this is something that I want to share with you because, well, a few reasons. Number one, you don't necessarily need to be like working yourself into a frenzy or whipping yourself up into a state to feel like you're good enough, worthy enough, deserving enough of getting a fee of a client, number one. Number two, you don't need to be whipping yourself into a frenzy or a state, keeping yourself so busy that you run off your feet and you're so scattered and you can't think clearly, and it's just this never-ending pile of things to do in order to justify your own existence, or to attract clients or anything like that. And in fact, if you're like me and you really value spaciousness and you really value your time and you really value safety, like feeling safe financially, feeling safe with your business, feeling safe with your home, like whatever it is, then you need to, I guess, have a look at how you're showing up in your business, right? So you heard what it can be like for me sometimes. It's not like that every single day, of course. It's not like that every single day. But I have days that are like that and they don't help me. In fact, they don't add anything at all to my business that helps me or that helps a client. All that's really happening is instead of my business brain making the decisions and piloting the plane, what's happening is I'm letting fear run the business some days. It's my nervous system that's running the business some days. And she's like, I'm panicking. I'm freaking out. You're trying to do something that I'm not okay with and that I'm not ready for. I'm freaking out. I can't handle this. And my instant response is to like quieten her down by saying, it's all right, then I won't do it. I won't do it. It's okay. Breathe, breathe. And so I don't do it. And this is responsible for the lull in growth in my business at different points, or for feeling like things are stalling, or feeling like I'm hitting that invisible ceiling. It's like I've done all of these things that have got me to this point in my business, and I'm so thankful for them, and the business is great and I'm doing great, but the growth has stopped, even though I haven't, right? Sometimes that thought comes into my mind. And anyway, because I really value my time, and because I know now what's going on, it's the nervous system, and it's also, I do have access to something that works for me in getting clarity. Now, you may have something that works for you too. Maybe it's journaling like me, maybe it's something else altogether, right? Whatever it is, or maybe you haven't yet found the thing that's dependable and reliable that always gives you your insights. But it's when you're able to take that information there and leverage it that you get your time back and that you boost your revenue. And here's the other thing that came up, right? The other thing that came up during all of this processing was fear I had around paying off the mortgage by the end of the year, right? So if you're new to the show, I recently got a mortgage, which, yes, I'm very thankful for. I'm very, very blessed. It gave me a means to getting into where I am now, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful home that I love so, 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 so much. But I don't necessarily love having debt, right? Anyway, I just decided that I was going to get this mortgage, this brand new mortgage. I got it on the 4th of June this year, 2026. I just decided it's going to be gone by the 4th of June, 2027, right? It's a done deal. And that's what led to shifting the business and stuff. But recently I was also like, hang on a second. I know that if I allow myself so much time, because of my ADHD, I will leave it until the 11th hour to smash out a result. And there's no point like doing that. I may as well just bring the timeline forward. So I brought the timeline forward to the end of the year, which is about 4 months, right? Not even really. And as I was sitting there with my dependable strategy, one of the things that came through when I was processing some of my fears around the business was, I was thinking about trust, and I was thinking about self-trust, like being able to trust myself to do this big thing, right? Because like part of me feels like it's just normal, and of course I can do it, and why wouldn't I be able to do it? But there's also this other part of me sometimes that pops up, because some people, when I talk to them, they listen to the podcast and they'll be talking to them and they'll be like, OMG, you're really going to try and do this? Like, what if you fail? What if it doesn't work? That's so big. And I have to try really hard not to let that kind of sink in. I have to try really hard to, just like let that evaporate into the ether. Because if I pay attention to that, then it can create the self-doubt, and then I start to lose a little bit of trust in myself. So anyway, I was processing some of this during my journaling work, and what I realized was I hadn't been doing some of the things that I know would shift the needle, because there was a part of me that was like, well, let's say you do it and this mortgage gets paid off, and that's amazing. And yep, we all clink glasses together and we're celebrating happy days. But what if everything just kind of like bombs after that? Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, what if, I don't know, what if Google just like take down my website? Or what if something happens to me? Or what if, oh, my clients just disappear in the middle of the night one night? Like, what if I can't keep it going? So that was very interesting having that insight, because then I realized, oh, okay, it's like my mind is seeing the finish line as the end of the year and have this mortgage paid off. But my body is like, we don't want a finish line. We want continuation. So interesting. I think that's the value for me in doing this, but it's not the same for everybody. I think find your dependable process that's going to work for you and give you your insights so that you can focus more on doing the things in your business that are going to take up less time, less energy, actually get results and more. And so anyway, when I was thinking about this and the realization of the finish line and how my body is like, no, we want to keep going past the finish line. Like, how you see in the Olympics when people are racing and, the person finishes, they cross the line, they run through the banner, but then they continue to run for a while. Like, yeah, it's that. I want the continuing running after I've broken through the banner. And what was I going to say? I was going to say something I've just forgotten. Oh, yes. And it was great because that realization brought everything back full circle with my realization of I need to update some systems. I need to create brand new systems. I need to, archive some systems that are currently in place, because I realized that that's future-proofing my business for me. And as I said, I know if you're a client of mine, you're listening to this, you're probably thinking they're going, but you tell us this stuff all the time. I know. Thank you. I receive that. I know. It's just me over here having the realization for myself that, I sometimes get so focused on my work and my clients and supporting them that I forget to do these things for me. And that's another reason why systems are so important. So the systems that you want to have in place in your business, while everybody's business is different, you all have your own goals and you all have your own things you're manifesting, and you all have your own sort of fingerprints, if you like. There are some common things to most businesses. So you will want to have a visibility system that saves you time, that saves you energy, that kind of hums along in the background, because it's that visibility system that's going to be bringing in cold leads to your business. So visibility is, we want to be getting seen by people, right? Now, they might be the warm audience, they might be the cold audience. Cold is people who are brand new to you, never heard of you before, just crossing your path now. Warm are the people who've been around you for a little while, right? Now, you want to have a system for that, but you also want to have a system for your lead generation, right? So lead generation is what's bringing in cold traffic to your world, brand new people to your world. This is very, very important, because you can exhaust your warm audience if you're not growing it, right? And by that, what I mean is that if people have been around you for a little while and they haven't done anything in terms of working with you, for example, or buying your digital products or doing your course or doing your group supervision or whatever it is, then depending on the type of business that you run, it might be that they're just not going to work with you because they've been around long enough, they've had chances, they know what you offer, and for whatever reason, it's not been the right time, or they have not been in the right place, or it's just not landing for them, whatever. They're just not going to work with you. And so if you continue to give those people your offers, right, the things that you're selling, over time, they're going to get pretty tired of that, right? And they might, I don't know, they just get tired. They'll still be in your world because they like you as a person. They feel connected to you. They feel like they're in rapport with you. There's relationship with you there, but they're probably, maybe just not going to work with you. Now, that's what it can look like depending on the type of business that you run. I am aware that my business is a little bit of an exception to that rule, though, because I know a lot of my clients will tell me that they've been in my world for 12 months, 2 years, 5 years, before they work with me. But when we're talking about getting bookings in the diary for the services that you offer, for those clients, they're going to move through, hopefully, fairly quickly. We know they're all going to take their own amount of time, but hopefully they're going to move through pretty quickly and work with you. But if they don't and they're just hanging around and nothing's really happening, they've been in your space for 24 months or so, chances are they're probably not going to be working with you one-to-one, okay? And so for that reason, what we want to do is call in brand new people. We want to get in front of brand new people. And you know what it's like when you find somebody brand new, you get really excited and you go to their website and it's like, whoa, this is so good. And you sign up for the newsletter and you download the free thing and you listen to the podcast and you do, right? And you're like in it. We want that for your business, right? And so to get that, we need to get it in front of new people all the time. And so there are definite systems that you can be put in place to generate new leads, new inquiries, new discovery calls, new possibilities for your business, no matter what type of business it is, right? Some simple ways to do that, of course, are going to be, yes, although traffic to websites has plummeted over the last 12 months, you still need to have a really good website, because when the traffic does come, number one, they're expecting that it's going to be good quality website and it's ticked all its boxes and all of those kinds of things. And the website's where people convert, right? So if the website isn't good, no point driving traffic to it, right? We know with AI sends people over and it's fewer people than Google, but much higher intent, much higher conversions. So make sure, yes, that you've got your website and it's all optimized. That's where it needs to be. Yes, that's absolutely one thing. Another thing is claim your corner of the internet so that you show up in AI more regularly and we can get you more AI traffic. You want to have an active Google business profile. They're just 3 things that all businesses can be doing right now that can help you generate some leads. But if you're in a position where you need more referrals, more inquiries, more bookings, more of the things, then you also want to be taking it a step further, and that's where things like your resources come into play here, like a free thing or a low-cost thing, stuff like that. So anyway, systems. And the systems end up doing a few things. Once a system has been installed into your business, right, you know what the strategy is, you know what the framework is, you know what you're meant to be doing, and you get it in, and you track it for 90 days, then you'll want to start refining it, okay? And really making it your own so that it really fits with your business, with your values, with the business goals for that year, all those kinds of things. So then you've got a system there that's kind of almost working on autopilot now, that is bringing in new people into your world. Those new people start to work with you, book, download, do the things, and over time move into the warm audience as well. All of that. But this also gives you back time, right? So it's future-proofing your business and it's giving you back time that you would be spending doing more courses on marketing or, posting on your Facebook or your Instagram or something like that. This is how you create a business that gives you the lifestyle that you really, 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 truly want to have? Systems, automations, things like that. Like one of the clients that I was talking to this morning, like I really, 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 really love working with her so much. And, she was saying today that she's really noticed that she keeps a tracker and her tracker is color coded and it's got like red, yellow, and green. And she'd noticed that over the last few months, it was like nearly all yellow and green. And she's so over the moon about that. She's got $50,000 almost. Well, almost $50,000 of projected revenue coming into the business. She's booked out to November. She never had any of that before. And then I said to her, oh, and she got 3 or 4 new inquiries over the weekend. All of this, she was onboarding someone today. And I said to her, just stop for a minute and tell me, like, what were you doing on the weekend? And she told me like what she was doing. She was just kind of relaxing. She was just chilling out, kicking back, doing some hobbies, stuff like that. She was just like, yeah, chilling. And I said to her, isn't this fun? Like you were just there on the weekend, not even thinking about work, not sitting in front of the computer, not exhausting yourself trying to like do all of this stuff. You were playing. You were, spending time on your hobby, just having some downtime, just relaxing. And you brought inquiries into your business. And with your conversion rate being at this much, then we know that, you can predict that it's going to result in this much coming into the business. And she was like, yeah. And I said, and you did that. That's happening now without you doing anything. And she realized that it's because she's got a system in place that now this is all happening on autopilot for her. And she never, ever, ever thought that it would. And isn't that so funny? And she said that at the beginning of working together, she was really kind of having these bouts of resistance to refining things, letting things go, putting systems in place. And she just kept on doing what she'd been doing because it felt hard, it felt too much, it felt extra on top of what she was already doing day to day. And I could so relate to that, especially with the insights that I had recently. But she's got evidence right there of what happens when you're in the mood and you can put a system in place and you can test it out and you start to see success, right? In fact, it was success that built her confidence, that made her want to refine her systems, build new ones, keep going. Like she gets it now and she can't unsee that, right? There's no way she will ever not have a system in her business now because it's working for her. And so anyway, I thought it was just helpful to share. So if you're, I guess, in a business situation, maybe it's a day, maybe it's a week, maybe it's a phase you're going through where you too know that you have a strategy that gives you clarity about what to do, but you're not doing it because you're already busy with all of the stuff. I think that this is an opportunity for you to look at, okay, how can I do both, right? And I don't want you to have a panic attack here and think, I can't, it's just an extra thing. When I say think about how you can do both, like the example I gave you from my business, I know now if I just do my journaling before or after work, I can use that to inform the day, the week, the month, the 90 days. Okay, it's just a matter of, so I get to do both. I can still get my clarity and I can still keep my nervous system nice and happy by being very busy. Okay, but instead of being really busy doing things that she's familiar with, she's going to be really busy doing things that shift the needle. And some of those things are going to be new to her, right? Meaning There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. There's going to be a little bit of trial and error. There's probably going to be a bit of tears and tantrums. But she'll get there. And I know she will because she always does, right? I've never let myself down. I don't plan on letting myself down anytime soon. So, yeah, I think find a way of doing both. And I think once you have started to build confidence by using that muscle, like let's just say it's going to be journaling for example, I think the more I do that and the more I see evidence that it works and stuff like that, the easier it's going to be with that evidence for my mind to get on board with, okay, this is a strategy. And because you've already put systems in place, you don't have to go H for leather anymore during office hours, because a lot of that energy that you are using to do a lot of those things is now happening in the background for you. So you do have time, you do have space to be able to do this as a business activity. Sometimes you have to go at a pace that feels okay for you. You can't just like jump in, because your body will be like, oh no, I can't do it. It's like, I don't know, like I can't use a plunge pool. You know, at the spas and the retreats and stuff, how you can go into the nice warm water and then it's like, oh, now get in the plunge pool. I will never do that. I struggle to get in the water at the beach, even though I really love the beach, because it's so cold. Like I can't do it. But if I'm in the bath and I want, and the water goes cold gradually over time, and I'm perfectly okay with that, like it's less shock to my system sometimes if I just let things happen gradually. So never ever feel like just because you've asked for a strategy, you've been given a strategy or something like that, it needs to be done straight away. No, it doesn't. If you're like me in respect to things like this sometimes, and my nervous system doesn't have a meltdown all the time, but I'm becoming aware of the times that it does, right? I'm just sharing one of those with you now. It's just a clue for me that my brain's over here, but there's a little bit of lag, okay? And when there's that lag, meaning my nervous system still needs to catch up, I know all it's really needing is just reassurance. And the way that my nervous system feels reassured is by having data to look at, which is why tracking your numbers, even if it's only a few numbers, but tracking your numbers is so helpful and so important. So yeah, you don't have to rush it, okay? You can take your time with it. That's perfectly okay. Yeah. But the sooner that you can recognize what's going on in terms of your behavior with the business and how you're showing up in it, the sooner you'll be able to make some changes when you're ready and when your nervous system is ready. And the way to know what changes to make are, if you're like me, you will have your very own dependable system for it. Or you can get support, whether that's in a community or whether that's through something else. Maybe it's, mentorship, maybe it's consulting, maybe it's, I don't know, professional supervision, like whatever it's going to be. Okay. And then I guess the other thing that can help you to feel calmer about dropping old behaviors and introducing new ones is to just set goals for yourself, because I think they give you context. I think a strategy without a goal is problematic, because especially if you're not tracking it, how do you know if it's working and what do you want it to do, right? So you can have a strategy and you can track it, but if you don't have a context to track it, how are you assessing if it's working or not, right? So I think for that reason, a goal is really good. So if you're saying, well, my goal is I want to get more inquiries, or I want more clients, or I want more money, then get clear. How many clients, how many inquiries, how much more money, how much more time do you want, like whatever it is, and work toward that. Find out what the benchmarks are for that goal, like if it's, I want to get more inquiries off my website. Well, then you need to understand about conversions. You need to understand about, so I've already shared with you so many times, a standard conversion is about 2% on a website. So for every 100 people, roughly 2 are going to book a call, book a session, reach out, do a thing, right? Take an action. The other 98, they're walking away. They're saying thanks, no thanks. When people come over from AI, 100 people come over from AI, 12 people book a call, 12 people get started. On average, 12 people pay you money, right? So, what was I going to say? I've just forgotten what I was going to say. It doesn't matter. I'm sure I've already covered it. I'm just belaboring the point. But anyway, systems, nervous system. Oh yeah, track. So yeah, think about like when you set yourself goals, understand what the goals are. So you might find it helpful to think about these benchmarks, like what I've just shared with you. You might want to think about your own benchmarks. So you find those in your own data. So if you're using practice management software, if you're a health professional, for example, you can go into your software and you can run a report that will show you how many inquiry calls, how many cancellations, how many, like the things. You can run the reports. You can go into your accounting software and you can run reports. Go and run reports and find out what your benchmarks are, and then set yourself a goal for 90 days or the month or the week or whatever it is of, something that's going to take it to that next level. So it might be like, I don't know, if you made $1,000 last week in your business, and on average you usually make about $1,000 in your business, then maybe go for 5% increase, right? And say, okay, this month I want to get it to $1,050, right? It doesn't have to be big, right? 10% increase be $100, right? Be $1,100 a week consistently, right? If that feels too much, go for $1,050 a week consistently, okay? Use your own data to inform your benchmarks and then set goals based on that, right? And of course, to bring these goals into fruition, to manifest these results for yourself, you need to set yourself up to be able to get them, right? To be able to manifest them. So that means having everything that you need. You've got to have your resources there. The resources might be a plan, or it could be a tool that you need to use. It might be someone that you can talk to, bounce ideas from, all those kinds of things. It might be like you've got to make sure that you're in the right environment. So, if there's something that you want to do, are you around other people who know that you can do it, who believe in you, who are cheering you on, who encourage you, who give you guidance, who say, oh, have you checked this thing out, who can help you like that? Or are you around people who are like, oh, don't be ridiculous. Nobody could ever manifest paying off a mortgage in 4 months. Like, think about who you're hanging out with. I mean, that's just one example. I mean, your environment could be other things. I mean, if your workspace brings you down, if you work from home like I do, and like you come into your workspace and it's just like depressing, like mine isn't depressing necessarily, but it's not where I want it to be yet because I don't know what that looks like for me yet. So I'm in here. I don't have anything on my walls. I haven't put a window treatment on the window yet. I'm still undecided about, like, I've got 4 rugs on my floor because I can't decide which one I like yet, right? I don't have a vision for this room right now. So it's not that the room is depressing, but Could I do a better job of hitting my goals if I loved being in this room and I couldn't wait to get in this? Absolutely. So there are other things that I can do to give myself that really great feeling. Like I've got my copper water bottle. I really love that. I've got the latest tech. I really love having access to that. So I can do other things in the meantime, but focus on your environment, right? All those things are very, very important. You don't have to be clean and neat and tidy. It's not about that. Like, I know so many women who, there's no way I could work in some of their offices. But they're very successful at achieving the things that are meaningful and important to them, and they're happy, and it's fine. This is not about you need to Marie Kondo your workspace. Don't think that for a second. It's about creating an environment that's conducive to you being able to get the goal. Something else that I do that really does help me is, I've told you before, like I've got these great big pieces of butcher paper poster things. They're by 3M. They are actually huge sticky notes. They go on my wall. I've got columns on them, and then I've got multicolored sticky notes. Like I've got pink, green, teal, purple, yellow, orange, white, like all the things. Each color sticky note means something different, and I can track things visually, just by moving the sticky note along, like the little sticky note along the big sticky note, right? And that tells me straight away, like what's happening in my business and what's not, and what I need to focus on this week or today or this month, right? That's something that's environmental that really helps me. It's not going to work for everybody, but I'm just giving you an example, right? So have a think about that. The other thing, like I'm just going to tell you another visual thing for me is, I want to have like, I'm not sure if I want to do this with little mirrors or if I want to do it with different size, different shaped wooden photo frames. And I want to put like a piece of just like plain color paper, like in a natural tone or something, in the glass photo frame. And I want to write a reminder to myself of like, that mantra that came to me recently about, this was so much easier than I expected. Like, I want to write that in one of these really ornate photo frames. But then I want to have a very modern photo frame next to it that's in wood, and write something else. Like, the other thing that's important to me is, how can I be a blessing to somebody today, right? I want to remind myself every day, who can you be a blessing to today? What would that look like? What could be really super duper helpful for that person or people, right? Hopefully these podcast episodes are a blessing to some of you some of the time, right? So I'm thinking maybe I just do a wall of all of that, because that'd be really fun. And I would love to see all the different higgledy-piggledy, different shapes and sizes and ornateness and modernness of all these different frames with all these different things. And I'm just going to write on the front of them with whiteboard marker, so I can just wipe it off and write the new thing, right, at some point. So, you can get creative. It's so much fun. But I'm going to leave it there. If you value community, right, and you want to start looking at how do you implement some of these things, and you want to be around other people who will support you and encourage you and get you and all those kinds of things, then you have options. One of those would be the Women in Business Resource Hub, and the other option would be the Foundations program. But with foundations, that's really for people who just have one or two things that they're needing to put in place in their business because there's a challenge that they just haven't been able to figure out yet. And so that's what that's for. And it just goes for 90 days and you're with 4 other women. So it's just like, 4 or 5. I can't remember if I'm doing 5 or 6 women. I think it's 5 plus me. So there'll be 6 of us. And that happens every quarter, and that opens next in September. Okay, so that we start again in September, which is only like 2 weeks away or something. So you've got those 2 options there. But if groups aren't your jam and you would just rather get help direct from the source, then you're most welcome to apply to work with me privately, either in Practice Momentum or through private mentorship and advisory. So I'll put the information for that in the guide for these show notes so that you've got it. You can get on wait lists, you can submit applications, all those kinds of things if you're ready to do them. Otherwise, no problem at all. You know where to come for free help, and that's this podcast. Yeah. And of course, Facebook. All right, my lovelies, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for being part of my world. I really, really, really appreciate you. Bye. Be sure to check the show notes before you click out, because I often do leave goodies in there for you. Thank you so much for listening and being part of my world. Have a beautiful day. Bye.